asking the questions and they don't have answers to it. So like
Yeah.
here's a scenario I just had pop up today. I'm a mortgage lender.
Mm-hmm.
They are building a home. They've already started construction, and that normally can be a problem for lenders to jump into the middle of a project.
For sure.
So when they don't have answers, like what's the value of waiting to get the lender involved? What if you don't? What if you do?
Mm-hmm.
Do I just ask the question and let it sit, or do I kind of fill in the blank?
Okay. I'm not a lender. Rich is going to score me on this too. Okay. I'm just going to pull something out of my butt. Okay. But there is something going on that that's building a house is having to deal with. Nobody's talking about it, Matt. I just wanted to make sure you're aware of it, right? Whether you go with me or not, like this is probably 4 different times this week this has come up, and this is one of the things where if you can get ahead of it, life can be really good with new construction. If you don't, it can get real scary really quick. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of what was going on. Yo, Jen, what's up? It's Matt. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, so on new construction, what a lot of people, especially if it's their first build, aren't aware of is there's a huge difference between the construction loan and permanent financing. And a lot of times if you don't have it all lined up to get off of that construction loan, which with today's rates are north of 10, 11, 12, 13%, and it is what it is, right? That's just, you're not, by the way, I'm not saying anything bad about who you're working with. Nobody's taking advantage of. It's just that's the box that construction loans are in. What a lot of times people don't realize is they think the transition over to that permanent mortgage is as simple as them going through the punch list with the builder and saying, hey, you missed a spot of paint there, you did. It's not, right? It's vastly more. Matt, what are you and Heather doing to make sure that that handoff goes as smooth as possible and you're able to do it the earliest possible event? Because this is significant in terms of the monthly that you're having to come up with in going off of that construction loan onto permanent financing, right? All I'm doing is man, I didn't really think about that. I mean, my mortgage, the guy I'm working with right now says he's got it covered. Totally get it. That's great. Just out of curiosity, when he said he's got it covered, did he work out a plan and a timeline with you? I don't remember. Listen, I am happy to help. I do a lot of this. A lot of times people in mortgage, they'll really just kind of focus on the construction side or on the permanent financing side. I nerd out on this stuff. I've worked both sides of these deals quite a bit. Happy to look over everything, if at the very least just to get you a second opinion. And I'm not saying anything bad about the person you're working with right now. I'm sure everything is great, but pretty cheap insurance policy for just me to have it peek at it, and more eyeballs on this kind of thing. 1 or 2 things could make a huge difference in the deal. I'm probably way off base there, Jen. Maybe not. But that's the way you approach that kind of conversation when they're not giving you a lot of information. You have to make them aware of something, right?
Okay, so use something that you're not, that I deal with every day that you may not be aware of. Because I think I run into issues where we know all the scary stories, but I think come off like a know-it-all, and then the consumer's like, it's not going to happen to me. And we all know it's going to happen to them.
Correct.
I think it's going to happen to them.
Yeah, which is when
that's my struggle.
Yeah, when you buffer it with, hey, something that every person that building the house is having to deal with, and nobody's talking about it. The key words there are nobody's talking about it, right? Because now you're not saying this to sell them. You just wanted to make sure they were aware of it, right? And then you're following it up before they even have a chance to answer. You're saying, how are you dealing with that? Which is very different than me saying, hey, were you aware of that, right? Because I'm going to go, yeah. But if you ask me how I'm dealing with it, well, I don't know. We really don't have a plan. When you say you don't have a plan, when were you thinking about getting a plan together? Now we're having a constructive conversation, right? The words we choose matter greatly in how they're going to answer the question. Nobody likes to be wrong, right? So if you just say, hey, I wanted to make sure you were aware of it, and leave it at that, they're going to go, yeah, sure, I'm aware of it. So you got to go, I wanted to make sure you're aware. Just out of curiosity, how are you dealing with that? Right? Not do you have this covered, because they're going to say, yup, I got it covered. Not is this a problem for you? They're going to say, it's not a problem for me. You're going to say, how are you dealing with it? And then when this is where you have to have your NOS, your net outcome statement. Because then when they go, listen, I'm all good with Derek from DP Mortgage. Derek's my man. Derek's got everything covered. Derek's got all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. I love Derek. You're going to say, no problem. That's awesome. I will be here when you need to make sure that this deal or any deal that you're working on gets handed over to permanent financing. Fair enough? You're just giving the outcome, if that makes sense.
Perfect. Thank you.